I'm going to be speaking about a book which is shortly to be launched today, published by Zuban and written by a lady who is unfortunately no longer alive. Her name was Prabha Khaitan, and the book which she wrote as an autobiography in Hindi was called Anya Se Ananya. I have translated it as A Life Apart. What drew me to the book was the extremely honest appraisal that Prabha Khaitan made of her own life, of a very difficult personal life. She was a part of the very famous Khaitan family of Calcutta. I think she was born in 1938 or so, and she grew up in the environment of an extremely conservative Marwari home. She fought with her family to be allowed to study in Presidency College, Calcutta, and got drawn to the Marxist students and the communist movement, although she was never an active member of the party. However, for somebody of her background to be attracted to the very people who were dismantling her family's industrial empire is in itself a very honest and a very brave thing to do. Well, this was only one of the many brave things that Prabhaji did, because shortly thereafter she decided to fall in love with a married man who had 5 children, had a very successful practice. He was an eye doctor, and she was told very clearly by him that he would never divorce his wife or give up his family, and she accepted all those conditions. She had the courage in the Calcutta of the 50s and 60s, and you can imagine how conservative that must be, even leaving aside her Marwari background. And she remained in that relationship for almost 33 years until his death. The relationship went through several phases. It started with a strong physical attraction, then it became a kind of sick dependence, and ultimately there was also a bit of disgust with the way that the personal relationship was panning out. When Prabha decided to write this book, she had no idea that she would shortly die. But it is really as if she is giving a living testimonial of a life which was lived on her own terms by a woman who became also a very successful entrepreneur. She was the president of the FICCI in Calcutta, of the Calcutta Chamber of Commerce. But more importantly, what drew me to that book is not just the fact that she had a lifelong affair and she decided to weather all the social and cultural problems that went along with it, but the fact that she had the courage to write about people not hiding behind Mr. X, Dr. Y. She has the courage to write about herself with the same honesty with which she has written about her family and about her relationship with this eye doctor. More importantly, she was also displaying behind her own personal life a whole range of great changes that were taking place in West Bengal politics and in Calcutta. So she talks of the Nakshal movement and of the ambivalence that she had. There's one side of her which is affected by the Nakshal movement, but she also saw the social origins of the Nakshal movement. So she's a woman who straddles both worlds very easily, and there is such courage that it touches the heart of every person who reads that book. I decided that this had to be brought into English, if only to tell our readers in the English language that they aren't the only courageous writers. You know, there are wonderful testimonials being written in languages other than English, but they're unavailable to us because we do not read that language anymore. I salute Prabha Khaitan for the woman she was and for giving me an opportunity to get over many of my own prejudices in the course of translating that book. This book has been published by Zuban, and Zuban has a very committed readership already, but I hope it also reaches out to many men, because it's not a woman's book. It is a book that actually should be read by men. Well, Anya means somebody else, and Ananya means somebody who stands on her own. So she traces her arc from somebody who was marginal to the life of a family to somebody who became the mainstay of that family. And that is why I thought that the best way of translating it is to call it A Life Apart. First person account. She talks, and there's a lot of montage in it. You know, she begins not with the day she was born, but with a particular fight that she has with the doctor in New York on a particular day, and then she goes back to that event and then moves forward to her life now. It's a beautiful movement. It's, you know, as if she's really looking at all the threads that are woven into the story of her life, picking up one here, balancing against another. It's a very, and another very beautiful thing she's done is that she's drawn small characters with such sensitivity, and there are lots of people she encountered in her working life, for instance, you know, from her craftsmen in the leather industry to business people to partners to important people, and she has been able to just bring alive every character that she has encountered, who she has felt has affected her life in some way. It is a very special book. No, there's no such thing as a liberated woman. Let me tell you that there's no Rani ki Jhansi. Jhansi ki Rani, sorry. Every woman is also terrified inside when she does these things, and that is what I like about this book, you know, that she's taken these steps. She also realizes that she's scared, she's not entirely convinced that what she's doing is perhaps the best thing, but it is the right thing to do. That is the difference that I wanted to see in the book become more and more prominent. She lived life according to a certain code of ethics and of morality, which such few people have the courage to follow. We all know what is wrong and right, but whether we can find in ourselves the courage to follow that is something that very few are fortunate to possess, that kind of courage. No, she confesses very clearly that she never had the courage to join her friends who had become active Communist Party card holders, because she came from a family where she would have found it very difficult to explain to her mother and her brothers why she was doing so. And yet it opened in her a window of compassion. So when her brothers say that you know, these Nakshals won't let us live in Calcutta, I think we should all leave, her mother says maybe we should hide all our wealth, and she realizes that, you know, most people look at wealth as if it is their own, not that they are holding it in trust for other people, that you must share your wealth in order for your wealth to have any meaning at all. So these discoveries of self that she makes for herself then irradiate her life. She says when she started her business, she made a vow that she would never deal in any black money, she would never transgress any law or break any rule. And mind you, she talks about other Marwari families when food was being hoarded, black marketeers were really surviving in Calcutta because of the Nakshal movement. And she says, of that I can say proudly that no matter how difficult it was and how much my family paid a price for being that, but we never broke any laws. So the honesty with which she talks about that self, but more than that, I think that the communist movement had a very noble side to it, you know, of opening your eyes to the unequal distribution of wealth, and that is what made her into the kind of compassionate person that she was. Well, this is the subtext really. The text, the main text is her own life, but beneath the text is a huge, you know, hinterland of West Bengal, of Marwari communities. She talks about how Marwaris are so insensitive to women and how they don't allow their girls to study beyond a certain point, how women are treated like second-class citizens in Marwari homes. And she also says that Marwaris have never allowed themselves to become a part of the Bengali culture which they have raped. I mean, all Marwaris in Calcutta have become rich at the cost of Bengal. So but they have never made an effort to try and understand the Bengali mind and to knit themselves. They've retained their little class identity. It's a lot like what Indians, when they go abroad, you know, they make a little ghetto for themselves. So she talks about all these things, and you can see a huge wave of concern that a person should even be aware of these things.